On Sunday, October 22, 1989, just after 9 p.m., Jacob Wetterling 11, his younger brother Trevor Wetterling 10, and a friend, Aaron Larson 11, were biking home from a convenience store in St. Joseph, Minnesota, where they had gone to rent a video. Danny Heinrich, wearing a stocking cap mask and armed with an unloaded pew-pew, came out of a driveway and ordered the boys to throw their bikes into a ditch and lie face down on the ground. He then asked each boy how old they were. Jacob's brother was told to run toward a nearby wooded area and not look back or else he would be pew-pewed. Heinrich then demanded to view the faces of the two remaining boys. He picked Jacob and told Aaron to run away, threatening him as he had Jacob's brother. This was the last time Jacob was seen alive by anyone other than his captor. On January 13, 1989, roughly 9 months before the Wetterling abduction, 12-year-old Jared Shirel was kidnapped, inappropriately assaulted, and physically threatened by an unknown adult man in Cold Spring, Minnesota. The victim's statement given on that night showed the modus operandi was similar to that of the Wetterling case. The perpetrator, who was later identified as Heinrich, used a pew-pew and, upon releasing the boy, told him to run and not look back or else he would be pew-pewed. That incident occurred 10 miles from where he would later stop the Wetterling brothers and their friend. In May 2014, investigators confirmed that they were taking another look at a series of attempted and actual child inappropriate actions that had occurred in the Painesville area in the 2 years pressed. In the Wetterling abduction, between the summer of 1986 and the spring of 1987, 5 teenage boys were attacked, but no one was arrested. The authorities interviewed some of the victims again and worked with the internet blogger who had brought the information to light. After months of research and interviews with some of the victims, investigators believed that these attacks were not random and that the culprit could be connected to the abduction of Wetterling, which occurred just 40 minutes from the other crime scenes. In October 2015, Danny James Heinrich was publicly named as a person of interest in Jacob Wetterling's disappearance. He had been questioned by the FBI on December 16, 1989. An DNA sample was taken, but he was not charged with a crime and was released. In 2015, Heinrich's DNA was matched to the DNA taken in the case of Jared Shirel, who was abducted in nearby Cold Spring in January 1989 at the age of 12. The statute of limitations had expired for the Cold Spring kidnapping, meaning Heinrich could not be arrested and charged with that crime. A search warrant was issued and child-inappropriate photos were found in Heinrich's house, leading to his arrest on October 28, 2015. Heinrich decided to cooperate with authorities as part of a plea bargain and, on September 1, 2016, led investigators to a burial site. Jacob's clothing and human remains were unearthed from a pasture near Painesville, about 30 miles away from the Wetterling home and the abduction site and a short distance from where Heinrich was living. In 1989, on September 3rd, the remains were confirmed through dental records to be Jacob's. His mother, Patty Wetterling, told television station KARE 11, a local NBC affiliate, that the remains found were indeed Jacob's. She said, "All I can confirm is that Jacob has been found and our hearts are broken. I am not responding to any media yet as I have no words." In the plea agreement, Heinrich agreed to plead guilty to 1 count of the 25 federal child inappropriate photo charges brought against him. In addition to revealing the location of the body and pleading guilty, he also agreed to testify as to the details of the Wetterling crime. At a hearing before Judge John Tunheim of the United States District Court for the District of Minnesota, Heinrich testified that he kidnapped and handcuffed the boy, drove him to a gravel pit near Painesville, was inappropriate with him, unalived him and buried him. Heinrich said that he was able to avoid police at night by listening to a police scanner. He said that he came back to the site a year later and moved him after noticing that Wetterling's jacket had become exposed. During the court hearing, Heinrich also admitted to kidnapping and inappropriately assaulting Jared Shirel earlier that year. In exchange for Heinrich's plea, the prosecutors agreed not to charge him with Wetterling's unaliving. In accordance with the plea agreement, Heinrich was sentenced to the maximum prison term of 20 years for the child inappropriate photos charge. In addition, the plea deal will allow state authorities to seek his civil commitment as an inappropriate predator at the end of his federal prison term, which could prevent him from ever going free. In sentencing Heinrich, Judge Tunheim said, "We won't pretend that this crime and sentence is about child inappropriate photos. It is also about changing the lives of so many children and parents who prayed for Jacob's return and also feared you coming out of the dark. Every child knows the story of Jacob Wetterling. You stole the innocence of children in small towns, in the cities of Minnesota and beyond." Although Heinrich could be released in 17 years from the start of his prison sentence, Judge Tunheim told him that it was unlikely, as this crime is so heinous, so brutal and awful that it is unlikely society will ever let you go free. In January 2017, Heinrich was transferred to Federal Medical Center, Devens, a federal prison in Massachusetts, to serve his 20-year sentence. For months after Wetterling's abduction, his parents, Jerry and Patty Wetterling, formed the Jacob Wetterling Foundation, an advocacy group for children's safety. In 1994, the federal Jacob Wetterling Act was passed in name for Jacob. It was the first law to institute a state inappropriate offender registry. The law has been amended several times, most famously by Megan's Law in 1996, the Adam Walsh Child Protection and Safety Act in 2006. In 2008, the foundation started by Jacob's parents became the Jacob Wetterling Resource Center. It carries on the work started by the Wetterling family to educate the public about who takes children, how they do it, and what each of us can do to stop it. The Bridge of Hope, a crossing of the Mississippi River near St. Cloud, is named in Jacob's honor.